Hey guys, I thought I'd do a little update on where I've got to in regards to this thermal panel, which is dominating that half of my room. Right. It's where to start. Last time I left off about with the arrangements of the pipes, about how many to have. Obviously, you don't want to end up one there and one over there, when in my case I want all the unit itself on the one side. So just to raise up a point about considering how many you got and actually thinking ahead of yourself, unlike I do. And I thought, brilliant, I'll shove as many as I could in that one little space and find out that I did it wrong. So last time it was left with this on the ground, the glass over, saying, oh yes, I wanted to build a base. This entire base here is tinfoil lined. Each layer I've used a spray adhesive, multi-purpose, high temperature, heavy duty stuff. Built up layers, like did one half, other half, middle piece, that end, and middle piece again, because that's the thickness of the tinfoil per section. So this entire thing is tinfoil, as I was saying. Done it quite nicely. The back is not yet sealed. I'm going to either use some block plywood or perspex or something just to keep the moisture out, because as you can see, it's a door. We were having our doors replaced and I said I'll have one, and that's exactly what I've done. Inside here is layered cardboard and it's hollow, but it acts as an insulator because the air behind that gets warmed, traps in heat and reflects it back. But obviously the tinfoil itself has the properties of deflecting heat. Also, when it gets sprayed, like down here bottom here, I ran out of spray paint from other messings about with the same can. I ended up getting that far and going, oh ball ache. So that's as far as I've got within regards to spraying it. This is matte black stove and barbecue paint. It's very good stuff. It doesn't quite stick as well to the tinfoil. It does got this cracking, but I'm going to put on an additional layer. Like I say, the can was running out itself. So I've got that far anyway, and I'm just waiting on the can to come through on eBay. But yeah, in regards to using a door as a back panel, well, let's say this is the whole door itself. This is a door. How I've done it, I've cut out a chunk like that down the middle, and then a chunk at this width across the middle. So I've kept the corner supports for the actual door itself, and all I did was bring each quarter section in to the middle and make it small, and then put a panel from the spare bit, which is what you see, this border here, this panel piece here on the front, and then, as you saw, one on the back to bond all the corners together. All of these have been sealed with I've still got the tab on there as well. Yeah, all this is going to be cut off. This is all junk. Yeah, I've sealed it all together with silicone to make it reasonably or as airtight as I can get it. And the back here will be again waterproofed and sealed again. These planks here are going to be side supports. As you can see, it just says long, but that's upside down. They're going to go across the sides here at a higher point, because these are also going to be used as means to support the glass onto the face of the whole thing. This unit weighs a bit now, so it's going to weigh even more when I've got the glass on it, and even more still when I've used this as a base support to hold it up at the right angle. How I'm going to have this is pretty much a fixed angle, but let's say that's from the side of it. It's not going to be too high, but that's ground level. My thumb is ground level, so it's going to be somewhat at that angle. With, well, here in the UK, generally the sun's over there somewhere, just over there. So I'm going to leave it at a set angle, roughly of that-ish degrees. Again, a guesstimation, but higher than 10 degrees is what I've learnt. So that thermal convection happens within the pipes at a higher than 10 degree angle, and heat will rise and come out, hopefully. This part here is higher than the end over there, so again that's sloped in itself, and thermal rise, more fingers crossed, happen, and it will go to this. This took me a bit of time to do. I can use the bottom one as an example. Originally it was a solid aluminium bar that I've ground a shape into to slot the pipes. None of this has been sealed or soldered in yet. So I cut a slot within the pipe itself so that this copper pipe can push into it. But the copper pipe itself has had like a bomb bay door on the bottom, like a cargo hold of some aircraft or such, that I've cut into the pipe. Not the whole way, just halfway into the pipe, here and here, and then split the pipe down the middle on the inner side, and then pull those two halves together. So the pipe looks like this. Instead of being a sealed pipe, I've split it, cut it so it can be bent out, and done that. And then the pipe slots into the aluminium pretty damn tight, and I've also drilled and screwed it with these, well, just a screw and nut, and clamp that on there. All this does pop off. None of this is fixed on yet. I'd say that's pretty tight though. Not fixed on, no. It will come off anyway. Just takes a bit more force. All this is going to be interchangeable because this is, again, an experiment. I can never do what everybody else has done before. I often try something different. So no one's really done this. The whole purpose of this is for my TECs. I was messing about with them in another experiment. That's 8 of them. I've got another 2 about the room somewhere, but yeah, it's a big mess. I'm going to align it with 5 on this side, 5 on that side. So the heated water or acetone or whatever it is I end up using will go in, because here is exposed to atmosphere and we'll have a cooler unit around it. It will be cooler. The water will condense, let's say just water, it will condense, releasing its heat and returning back to a liquid state. Depending on if I have this fully pressurized with water so that there is no expansion and it turns into basically a boiler, and it all remains as a fluid and just releases heat and goes down and convection currents happen. Or if I use half of it with water, hot water, so then when I seal it, the water contracts and it acts as a thermal pump and siphons heat off the atmosphere, being a low pressure, and again releases it through this point here, which will have a cooler unit additional to it. The pellet is in the middle and generating power. Fingers crossed anyway, but again, what I choose to put in it and how I choose to cool it depends on how the unit actually goes on. If I was to have the glass with a vacuum seal, obviously having a vacuum seal on the outside and then a vacuum on the inside, it cancels itself out. No heat can be transferred across a vacuum, but that will be a lower pressure with substance to transfer heat, whereas within the glass it would just be a vacuum and no air. So that would be useless for that, but obviously as a boiler heater type thing with a vacuum here, no heat can be transferred out when it is absorbed by the black pipes. Yeah, look on YouTube itself for a better explanation, because my mind just starts releasing information at a bad rate. But yeah, this little setup here is the no one's done before stuff, my variations on doing stuff normally, which I can't do often. This is just simply going to be the inlet for whatever I want to put into the system. That'll fill up, and obviously it will zigzag up, and then it'll rise level with that. And that's the exit pipe for air, or indeed the fluid when I know the whole system's full, and it will just come out of that side there. And then I can seal that, leave it, pressurise the system a little bit maybe, and then turn it off. And that should be hopefully all sealed and ready to be then worked with to figure out how in the hell do I do the other half of it. Oh, there's the other two. I just noticed them. Yeah, I've been messing around with this candle, heating a aluminium box which has been sprayed matte black on the inside to absorb and trap heat. And there's the Peltiers just in the middle, and then this great big heat sink, which I'll be using these heat sinks with that. I do have two of them. The second one is there. That's been sprayed matte black, so I'm gonna have to scrape all that off in some way. I don't know how, but I will. There's some compound everywhere. Yeah, I'm going to use them as part of the cooling system. Point to note when messing about with TECs, if you got the one unit and you get 1 volt from it, like I did, and it ran from a candle, putting 3 units on it, you will not get 3 volts. You will only get 1 in combination of these, because the amount of heat these allow to transfer through them, obviously, brain's not working. Okay, this has, let's say, 10 units of heat. 1 unit will allow 8 units to go through it, for loss of just general heat waste. So that will give you your 1 volt. Now if you've got 3 units and 10 here, obviously 8, 8 and 8, there's not enough. So that becomes less. This would be like 3.5 or 2, 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, something like that. But basically you won't get more out. You'll have to put more heat in to get more heat out. So obviously one of the things I've learnt now through simple experimentation is obviously a single unit is 1 volt. Having 3 units doesn't mean 3 volts, it just means 1 and maybe a bit more voltage. If you put them in series, in parallel, obviously it would be less, because the amount of heat these TECs themselves transfer through them can't be any more than what this whole thing can actually provide at a set rate. Something like that. Unless you freeze this side, then it will just suck the heat through, and it will give you more power. So with TECs, heating as well as cooling is just as important as the other one. So as big as this is a heater, I'm going to have to work on a significant cooling system if I really do want to get power out. I know it's always cold outside in Britain, but it's not always cold outside in Britain. Yeah, it's not always. So I'm going to have a cooling system for that. So yeah, that's as far as I've got. I've used the door, and it's a fairly hefty size unit just for that. I guess that's what I've got for now. Okay then guys, take care then. See you all later.